Right, sorry for the delay, just had a bit something to eat. And it looks like, on my screen, we've got something left. So let's just press some buttons. There. Move that out of the way. What bit I can see is just there. Just take that onto it. Can't see a lot at the moment, but that's the smudge, that's where it is. Just going to manoeuvre it so it's more central. But saying that, looks like I've overcooled the camera. I might just go and switch the cooling off on the camera. Yeah, I can see it there, look. See it there. There you go. There she is. Move that out of the way. Just about see it there. Just about see it there. Just clear any modifications. It's a blur. It's a smudge. That's all we can see. A smudge. That's just a auto stretch. There it is. That's one of the pieces. And I don't think I'm going to get very much this evening. I'm going to see what's causing the haze on the camera. I think I might have got the cooling turned up a little bit too much. But yeah, you can see it. You can see a tail. In fact, I think I can see two tails. One going that way and one going that way. Unless it's just me. I'll leave that view on screen while I go and have a look at the cooling on the camera. And I'll either turn it down or I'll turn it off and see how it goes. But from what I can see two tails. Unless I'm completely imagining this. Case of sitting further away from the screen and seeing more. Be right back, not be a second. Right, that's a cooling switched off on the camera. I couldn't see down the mirror. It'll just take a few minutes now for this scope to stop wobbling because I've poked it about a bit. But so far I can still see it. Should clear it. Just a very, very slight blur there. There's not too many solid elements left of this Comet at the minute. Move that out of the way. Yeah, I can see more when I step back from the screen. and I can see just one possible major element left. That bit there. That's about the only solid thing I can see of it at the moment. We'll give it a few minutes, see if this haze just disappears. I had the camera cranked right over, so it's going to be a little bit cold. Got to wait for it to warm up a little bit. And I've also got my dinner here. Welcome to the stream. I see we've got a few people here already. And let's hope we can pull a little bit more detail out than what we've actually got on screen at the moment. I'll move this out of the way so we can actually see a little bit more of the detail. And I'll press a few buttons. Yeah, I can still see some detail of it, but not a lot. Just got to wait for the temperature to equalise on the camera. Right, I'm just going to have a bit of my dinner. It's a bit late this evening. I was playing with the moon, and I'll be watching the screen, and I might even set up a capture sequence, see if we can capture a bit of data for later assembly into a bit more of a solid image. Back shortly. I'm just going to have a bit of something. Oh, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Does it pose a threat? I don't think so. The original trajectory kept it well clear of the Earth. I've lost it on screen now. And it wasn't even considered a threat then. It was just an object passing through our system that was interesting for a while. And now it started breaking up. The hoped for super bright comet of the year, or half century, is not going to happen. The different elements have broken up, so the light intensity is going to be significantly reduced, hence why we're having a little bit of an issue picking it out the background. I overcooled the camera, and with the humidity it's going to take a while for it to equalise so I can get some decent pictures, but even now I can still see it on screen. Just about there, and we're still blustery down here. That is so annoying. That is so annoying. Gorivera, Genius 2. Oh, I remember you've been on streams before. Welcome back. Yeah, there's no real threat from it. It's just a bit of a disappointment for everybody because we're expecting it to be a lot more intense as it got closer. Right, I'm only on a 15-second exposure. Let's just up it to 30 seconds. And we'll drop the gain down to 200. Which I think was the sweet spot for last time. We'll see what comes out of this next exposure. It's a branch of NASA, I think, near Earth objects. Let's just have a stretch. Let's see if we can find it again. Still see part of it just there. I'll bring this across. That's the most. Whoops. Just about see it there. Well, I can show you a 3D trajectory from the site that I use for tracking these down. Oh, there it is again. Just bear with me. I'll bring the screen up and then drag it across, and then you can see how the trajectory is worked out. The magnitude has dropped enormously according to this. It's about 13.2. So let's bring the 3D orbit up for you and I'll show it you. Oh, a data error occurred on it. No, nevertheless, here it is. I'm just bringing it across now. Let's have a look at it. Yeah, they take multiple readings of it. I've lost it. The data error was losing the comet, I think. Let's just refresh the screen. No, it's not letting me drag the comet back in. There we go, magnitude 13.2. Let's see if we can get the 3D orbit. No, a data error has occurred. It's not letting me bring the 3D orbit in. So it doesn't pass that close to us anyway. So it's not really a threat. And where is it? It normally tells you up here who does all the calculations for it. 3D Solar Systems Simulator. Yeah, it's not. See if we can get another Comet in. Let's see if we can get Y1. Yeah, that one's being projected. Right, I think the data error might be because there's not enough of it left to track accurately. Zoom out a little bit. The purple orbit lines on there is for the Y1 Atlas. C2019 Y1 Atlas track. So if we zoom right in, we'll see exactly where it is, indicated by that white mark there. And we're somewhere on that blue blob there. So if we look at it distance wise, it's about Mars distance away from us, that Y1. Now let me see if I can get back and get Y4 up. Let's see if we can get that one up. No, data error occurred. So I think they've not got tracking data for it at the moment. Hey, how are you going again? Hey, Crispy, nice to have you back. Swan, unfortunately, is below my horizons, and I have got absolutely no chance of picking that one up. This is the 3D, or supposed 3D track for Y4, Atlas Y4. But every time we try and load it, there's a data error. So I'm wondering if they've not got accurate tracking data. They've lost it, because I had a little trouble initially trying to find it again. Anyway, let me just go back to the main screen and have a look what the camera's picking up. There it is again, look. We can actually find it. Let's have a zoom in. 2 pieces. We can actually see 2 pieces of it. Unless that's my imagination. 2 pieces of the main body. And you can see the coma is stretched to encompass both pieces. So at the moment that's looking pretty good. To be honest, I never expected to pick it up this evening. I can see it a lot clearer in the unmagnified image. There, look. You can see it very easily just there. So I'm really pleased for this. Yeah, you see it. And I honestly never expected to get this evening. And I'm going to set up right now, if I can find it, a capture run and just get some solid data for it. I think we used test plan, didn't we? We're using let's just do a test of 90 seconds with these settings. So I'm just going to put this exposure up to 90 seconds. Yeah, that's picking up 2 pieces quite lovely. That is. That's really impressive for me. 2 pieces there. And let's move this out of the way, and we can see the coma's getting quite wide. Wow, that is impressive. I have to sit back from the screen, but that coma is becoming quite wide. I assume it's because with the variable seeing, I'm not able to get a consistent frame-to-frame data set. But within that coma, you can just about see the main part of the coma on that. We can see two main fragments and possibly a third just there. So I'm thinking that we've got some decent data again. Magnitude now, I think it's 12, 13 now, because we're pushing this camera a little bit more than I'd normally do. And we're not getting as defined detail as we did last time we were on it. But we'll have to see how it goes and go for the capture. We'll do a capture run of 30 exposures, and over 30 exposures we should be able to see a trend. I'll just move this magnifier out of the way because we can quite easily see the coma and the tail now, which is impressive on its own, and you can actually see the smaller elements within the coma. So quite impressed with it. Just bear with me, I am going to head for a drink. Not too far away, but I'm still watching the screen. Right, let's let this run at 90 seconds for a while, and let's just confirm that that is a fragment and not a background star. See if they stay equidistant apart. If the distance changes, it's a background star and that's moving. That's a background star. And I think that it actually is a fragment. It's staying similar distance. Evening all, seeing. Nice to see you again. As you can see, we've landed on Atlas, and I'm going to reposition it to top left of centre where that star is there. I want to put it just there, so I want to move that star to about here, and then that should reposition that somewhere over there. Is my audio coming through okay? Because I keep getting audio warnings from my software. I'm not actually monitoring the stream tonight. Oh, that's lovely. That is an absolutely lovely shot. I think that's going to be a screen capture, that bit. I'm just going to grab a screenshot of that just to make things easier to show for later. There we go. Can use that for reference later. Oh, I don't know. That's distance is changing. That distance is changing, so it might not necessarily be a fragment. Oh, cheers, mate. Thanks for that. I'm going to have to keep monitoring the stream myself so I can see this myself. The Discord server is up and running. I just remembered that. I'm just starting it now. So I'm just going to bring that across. So if you want to join in, talk live, the Discord server is available. Hey, watching, nice to see you. Yeah, I'm quite surprised myself. I started this evening not expecting to see a great deal. I did a quick view of the moon with my old camera. So if you have a look at the video before this one, I had a quick look around the moon. I've also ordered some new kit. I'm not sure. It's lasting a lot longer than I expected. I mean, look at that. That is quite impressive. I originally thought that might have been a fragment, but it's not. It seems to be left behind. So I think that's a background star. I'm not sure if it'll make it round now, you know, because it's lasting a lot longer than I expected. I was expecting it to diminish quite a lot. But I'm not sure how bright it's going to get now, because I don't think there's enough of it to reflect much light. So we'll just have to wait and see. It's an adventure we're all going to have together. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I thought. I think part of that last collection of images was down to the conditions where I am, the atmospheric conditions, and the brightness of the, because at that particular time the moon was it's sort of at a distance and it was causing things to haze out a little bit. But what we're watching tonight, the tail is quite distinctive, as long as I sit away from the screen. Let me just clear all the mods and then look at it as it naturally is there. So it's still quite easily visible. Yeah, it's just going to disappear up behind that star in a few minutes. It is. Yeah, I've noticed that myself. And also, one of the earlier shots, the coma is getting quite wide across the front. The coma was getting impressively wide. So if we get some consistent seeing tonight, we might actually pick up some data that we've not had before. I mean, even that, you can see the coma is really impressively wide at that. But we'll have to wait for it to get past that star to get a clearer view. But yeah, look how far that tail stretches out there. Well, we'll wait till it gets past that star, and then we'll do what we always do. We'll press some buttons. Right, how fast is it moving? Bear with me a second. I shall get up the latest telemetry that I can find on it, and I'll give you a look at that. That is really good. That is really good. Right. If I'll just drag it across so you can actually see. I'll drag the data screen across. Right, this screen here from the Sky Live, distance from Earth, just here look, 134 million kilometres, and it seems to be reducing. The closing speed, the distance from Earth, it's not directly coming at us. The closing speed is 22.2 kilometres a second. So the distance between us and the comet is reducing at 22.2 kilometres a second. Now, the distance from the Sun is 124 million kilometres, and that's reducing at 45.7 kilometres a second. So it's travelling faster towards the Sun than it is towards us. And I'm really miffed that we can't bring up the 3D tracker. And that looks like a pair of Starlink satellites, or multiple Starlink satellites, because there's two tracks on that view there. But yeah, that's the comparative speed. It does. I don't think it gives you a directional speed. It says magnitude 9.4 observed magnitude. So magnitude 9.4 reaching 10, which is starting to push it for imaging with my kit. Right, let me move this screen out of the way so we're not missing too much. And look at it, it's just going past that star. Let's just have a quick look. Yeah, we've got to wait for it to clear that background star before we can have a proper detailed look at it. But even without zooming in, you can, from where I can see, the coma is quite wide. The tail is very definitively longer. And after this exposure, I'm just going to shorten the exposure and move it to about center screen, so I get it away from this corner, because this corner's got the amp glow with this camera, and I just need to get it away from that corner. Oh, thanks for the likes, guys. Much appreciated that. Much appreciated. And if you've not subscribed, please do. You'll get a notification when I go live if you ding that bell. And the moon tour will be coming up within a week and a half, I think, weather permitting. And we're going to have some new kit to play with. I've ordered a new camera just for the event. Yeah, if you go to the Discord server, I've dropped links to the hardware I've ordered, the new camera. So you can see the new camera and what its capabilities are and what sort of things to expect from it when I get it all set up. Now, if it was faster than the speed of light, it would have been and gone by now. The light from the sun takes about 8 or 9 minutes to get to us. Right, pardon me. Yeah, when I start this 30 frame exposure run, I'll get 30 frames with a 15-second gap between each frame, and I can create that into a stop motion video. In fact, I can do that with all the other ones. Right, I'm just going to reduce the exposure down to 1 second, and then I'm going to move that to about this position here. So we've still got the tail on, but it's away from this corner where all the amp glow is. Oh yeah, the moonshot, the moon test I did about an hour or so ago, a couple of hours ago, was with the old camera. It's got a very slow frame rate. The new camera is significantly faster because it's a USB 3, and that old one original is a USB 2. So the frame rate was really slow, and a faster frame rate will make the clarity a lot nicer, especially for on screen. So I'll be doing all the streams in HD 1080p, so the resolution will look pretty much as what I get on screen. Right, the picture's going to disappear in about 15-20 seconds, and then I'm just going to reposition it. There it goes. Right, that star there, I want to position from that corner there somewhere about there. So if I use there we go, got to move that up there. Yeah, that's about close enough. Right, let's go back to the 90-second exposure and see if we got it in the right place. Everything's an adventure. Everything's an adventure. I feel like a schoolboy every time I look up into the sky, especially tonight when we actually found the comet again. It's something I never expected this evening, because the amount it was fragmenting from the last stream I did, which was quite a few days ago, I never expected there being enough of it together to pull any detail out. But the tail's got longer, and to me the Comet has got a lot wider. We'll get a bit closer in a second and have a look. Then once I've got it in the right position, I'll start the 30 exposures at 90 seconds, and later we'll create the stop frame animation so we can see it moving through the field of view. I've also got such a lot of data to work with to create a review video that I'm struggling trying to departmentalise it into sections. So I'm going to start stream by stream with the data we've got on each individual stream, and we'll work on a conclusion. There we go. That's not too far out, is it? Exactly where we wanted it. So we've got plenty of room for the tail there. That star is exactly where we predicted it to be, and it'll be a few seconds because the telescope's only stopped slewing a few seconds ago. It'll need to settle down so there's no movement on the tube. So what do we do now? A normal standard operating procedure. We press some buttons and let's have a look. And it looks like it's been stretched out. To me there could be two pieces there, but that's just me. And let's press some more buttons. Well, that was a star we were waiting for it to pass, that background star there, and that is the main coma across there. So if we move that out of the way, and the tail goes back quite a way now, it does look a bit brighter on here, but I think my camera temperature's equalised a little bit. I've switched the cooling off, so the camera, well, we'll see what temperature the camera's at in a minute when I start this exposure plan. In fact, if I start it now, I'm just going to stop the live view, and then I'm going to start this capture plan. There we go. I'm just changing my audio a little bit. Right, came through a bit loud. I can't remember what was there a second ago, if that's a background star or if that's two pieces of the main body. We'll just have to wait for the first exposure to come across, and then we can positively identify if it's two pieces or if it's going past a background element. Yeah, I think I'm going to have a t-shirt made with that. Let's press buttons. Yeah, there's a lot of tail there, a lot more than I expected this evening. So let's hope we can get some detail out of it with these 90-second exposures. We're running the same settings as we did last time. We know how we found that sweet spot. A gain of 200, exposure of 90 seconds. And that seemed to be the sweet spot for getting the best exposures. So we're going to stick with that. Yep, 200 gain was the sweet spot on this camera. Right then, that's the first exposure. Wow, I'm sitting back from the screen and that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Let's have a look. Let's press some more buttons. Well, I can't tell if that's distortion from the shot or if it's two pieces side by side. My equipment, I don't think, is capable of getting the resolution to definitively identify two pieces, but with a few extra shots, if we get consistent images with the size, it could indicate that it is two pieces. Let's just move the magnifier out the way and clear the tweaks. Even there I can still see the tail quite strong, but the main head is definitely dimmer than compared to the other streams we've been doing. Yeah, it looks like there's a piece sticking out just there, doesn't it? Unfortunately, it's a case of the closer we get, the less we see. Right, let's press some buttons. And let's see what we can tease out. Yeah, it's stretching out a bit there. The star, what's the stars like? Got a bit of movement, so it won't be a very accurate. It won't be a very accurate image. That, 'cause we've got a bit of movement on the scope. Those stars aren't round. So unfortunately, we'll have a slight wait till we get the next good piece of data in. I think we're going back to one of the first evenings that we did stream on this. If you look hard enough, you can see whatever you want to see, and I'm still seeing two pieces in there. But we'll wait till next exposure comes in and we'll reassess. But we are on exposure number 3 of 30. There's a 15-second pause between each frame. So when I create the animation, right, length tip to tail. It's normally in they normally measure that in degrees, in minutes, angles. I think the whole. I can't work out the whole diagonal of my camera. Oh dear! I knew this information, and I remembered it just in case this situation came up. Would you know? I've gone completely blank. I can't. I honestly can't. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. I knew it was a few arc seconds, or arc minutes, corner to corner, but that's only meaningful from our point of view. From a different angle, it would change. So I couldn't exactly say. Let me just have another stretch and have a look, see what we can pull out. So without actually digging back into my camera data, my camera specifics for this setup with this focal length, I couldn't exactly tell you. But I will find out for the next stream. Yeah, Hubble's coming to the end of its life, end of its useful life. It's not only running out of fuel. Whoa, clear that. It's not only running out of fuel. A lot of the reaction controls are breaking down, and that is a cloud going by. Because if I look at the temperature of the sensor, 18 degrees, and I normally like to run it about 0 degrees, so we're running close to ambient at the minute. I'm not going to touch the camera now because it will move the image, it'll blur the image. It's still there, I can still just about see it. Let's clear that. Yeah, that's definitely a cloud going by. That's better. It was a cloud going by, you see. Fighting nature now. Well, tonight, oh, I've just looked at that one. Tonight, my tipple is the traditional mug of tea. Stargazer's tea. Let's press a few buttons. Yeah, definitely see some stuff there. Clear and have a look. Now I've got movement on scope. That's why these images aren't as crisp as previous. Yep, Yorkshire tea. Can't beat a bit of Yorkshire tea. I'm surprised we've not been buzzed by satellite. We've been live for a few minutes and we've not been buzzed by satellite. I haven't got work in the morning, so the only limiting factor is the weather outside. My daughter at uni's got access to Adobe Premiere. I think that's what I'm going to be using to edit the videos together. But because I never made a master copy of all the streams, lack of hard drive space, I'm going to have to download the data from YouTube and see what that edits like. So I'm not sure the quality. And that's got movement as well. That's not perfectly round, you see, that we've got movement. Yeah, we did have some really good evenings on some of the previous streams, but every single stream's weather dependent, and my observatory is between two rows of houses, so the wind sort of funnels between them, so it's not in an ideal situation when it comes to any sorts of breezes. That looks like a better capture. Those stars look a lot rounder. And let's have a look. Yeah, temperature's quite high on the sensor. Losing it a bit now, look. You can just about see the most dense part. I'm just going to go outside and oh, it'd get very bright. I'm just going to go outside and just check the sky, because I've got a feeling there's a cloud bank going by with this type of screen at the moment. Just bear with me a second. It's not looking good, guys. I have got a massive cloud bank going by. I'm just in a bit of a gap at the moment, so it might clear up for a few seconds, but then it's going to absolutely close me down. It is a massive cloud bank. So I think the weather, nature might beat us this evening. Yes, that was it 1998 OR2, that asteroid. Yeah, look at this. It's just a massive cloud bank going by. We're actually looking through literal fog. OR2, I think it was. I've got access to the data for it. Asteroids. Juno, Pallas. There we go. 1998 OR2. And let's see if I can bring up the 3D tracker for that one. And I can show you where it is and how far it's travelled since it passed us. Right, because that screen's gone super grey, here is the 3D track of OR2. Right, zoom in a little bit. There is asteroid 1998 OR2, and if we go on here we can click forward by days, months, years or hours and minutes. So let's just kick, I'm trying to find a better view, there we go. We'll just go a day at a time. So there you go, and we can just backtrack. Well, from this angle, it looks close, but you can see how close it actually gets. There you go, that's about as close as it got. Yep, it's heading out into the galaxies, never to be seen by us again, unless you've got a bigger telescope than mine. But there's the orbit. So it'll be travelling outside the orbit of Mars. And I think it's just inside the Jupiter's orbit. Yep, just inside Jupiter's orbit, look. That line there's Jupiter's orbit, so it's going to be travelling round in that. Let's see if we can find out if it goes any closer to Jupiter. Here comes Jupiter in 2021. So when's going to be a good photo opportunity? Well, Earth's over here and Venus is just here. So it might be going in front of Mars at some point. This is in 2024. Right, here's another close pass-ish. Now, we're not going to see it very close at all. Anyway, let's move it out of the way. Let's see what we've got in regards of clouds. Yeah, look at that. We've been cloud bombed. That's that cloud bank. Cloud bank. I'll get my teeth back in a minute. That's that cloud bank I just told you about. So I'm not sure how long that's going to last, but I think that's the limiting factor for this evening's events. Uh, 40 million miles. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure. Let me just have a look at the forecast for my area and see if we could. Oh no. Right, I'll just drag this in and show you the forecast. That's us right now, 10 o'clock. Oh, coming up to 11 o'clock there, look. And we've got clouds, 98%, 83%, and clouds start reducing by about 1 o'clock. So between midnight and 1 o'clock, we should get thinning clouds. 4 o'clock in the morning, we've got the space station flying over. Right, tomorrow, that's red all the way through. Monday, but look at Tuesday. Look at Tuesday. I think that might be, and Wednesday. I think these 2 days might be a good chance for a moon tour. Do you think a couple of days' notice is going to be short notice for the moon tour? But I've got to get the new kit set up. But Tuesday, Wednesday evening look like there might be an opportunity to try the new equipment out and have a wander around the moon. Because you see here, the moon's going to be 97% lit on a Tuesday, and Wednesday it's going to be full moon. The moon will be full at 12:40. The moon will be 100% full at 12:40 on a Wednesday. So Tuesday and Wednesday are both going to be great opportunities to try the moon tour and see what we can find. Yep, go for. I think Wednesdays might be the go-to day. I can still see the comet there, but the cloud is absolutely hammering us this evening. Even through the cloud, I can see definition of a tail. Oh, I love this tea. Yeah, we'll give this another 20 minutes or so, see if this cloud bank passes. But even now, I can still see the comet through the haze. Not as good as it could be, but at least we know the camera settings are spot on for what we need. And when the new camera arrives Monday, I will set up for testing in the daytime on solar, on the sun. So if anybody's around in the early afternoon, we'll have a look at some solar with this new camera. Be testing the focus, exposure, and gain levels that we might be needing, and we'll have a little bit of a play with the solar, and we'll see if we can pick some planets out in daylight, and that will be a good test of the new camera. It will have a very, very narrow field of view compared to the one we're using this evening. The actual view of the new camera, bear with me, I'll see if I can find the images of it. I'll show you the field of view that we can expect from the moon. Right, here we go, field of view calculators. Right, bear with me. I'm just setting up the information so you can see what will actually see through the camera, and I'll compare it to this one. Just takes a few minutes just to locate the information of my scope. That's that one. Imaging mode, camera. And the moon. There we go, back to view. There we go. I think we've lost to the clouds. Just bear with me a second. I shall add the different views from the different cameras. I just need to locate 224, add to the view. Right, this is the red square is the approximate field of view with the camera that we're using right now. The green square is the new camera. That's how close the new camera's getting. But if we add a Barlow, these are all the Barlows I've got. I've got a two times Barlow. When I put the double Barlow on 2 times, it brings you to that view. Then if I add the 3 times Barlow, which I was using on the moon earlier, that's the 3 times Barlow. And then if we add the 5 that I've got, that little square there compared to this red square is the view and the small area that we'll be able to look at with this new camera and my 5 times Barlow. So we've got all these options for when we do the moon tour to get in really close, but unfortunately even that doesn't have the resolving power to pick up the moon landing sites. Right, let's just clear that. Now we've got pure clouds now. We've got pure clouds, so I don't think we're going to see very much. Very, very close with the craters. We can look at craters inside craters inside craters. So it should be an interesting evening. Well, if you saw the previous test I did, Copernicus, that's a really interesting one to have a look at. That view was with the 3 times Barlow on a similar sensor size to the new camera. So there'd be a similar view, but possibly better clarity because it's a faster frame rate. It's a USB 3 camera, and also the exposures and the colour will be a lot more pronounced because it's a lot newer sensor compared to the one I was using this earlier on was I think it's about 12 years old now. So technology's moved on a little bit in 12 years. So the new camera will make a massive difference to what we'll be able to look at. And at the moment, all I seem to be looking at is a big white cloud right in front of the sensor. So I think I might have to throw the towel in at that. So Mother Nature has finally beaten us down. Although we found the comet and we did get some images. Let's just have a quick review of some of the images. Oh, it's coming back. It's coming back. That cloud bank's disappeared, look. It's moved on. So we might get a few more frames out of this evening after all. Yes, I think that new geological map's about to show the greed of mankind. Because America wants to go and start mining the moon because China has the fortunate location on the planet where all the rare earth elements are, and America doesn't want to be beholden to anybody. So they're going to forsake the true nature of mankind and go to explore for the true nature of mankind of greed. So yeah, it is. It's going to be a sad state of affairs when America start pillaging the moon for the resources. I can actually still see it there. Let's see if we can stretch it a bit. Yeah, I can still see it there, even through this cloud. Ah, I think that cloud bank's passed. There it is. And let's see if we can tweak a little bit out of it. Yeah, I can still pick a bit of data out of that now. Now that cloud's gone by. So we pull back, see if we can see the coma. I think greed's going to be the downfall of man. America at the moment, I've been watching some of their news reports, and it's sad. The Republicans, I think they are, aren't it? The Republicans, Trump's lot, are prepared to let states go bankrupt, and they're hijacking medical supplies and selling them to China. Would you believe? States, even the Republican states, are ordering these testing kits and masks and gowns from Korea, and they're having to hide them from the federal forces. They're hiding them from their own government because the government's trying to take it from them. Now that looks an interesting image. Here we go, look. That suddenly got clear. That's a background star, and I think that's a background star, but that blur of a mass there, I think, contains multiple elements of the main body. So the scene has cleared up significantly in the last few minutes. So it looks like I'm going to be here a bit longer. Yep, it does look like there's two pieces on there. One there and one there, look. Tiny bit at front and a major part there. Looks like the larger piece is slipping backwards. Yep. Yep. When I create the animation, I think it's going to be a bit gappy with some of the clouds coming by and interfering. But we should get a decent set of data, and I'll see if I can stack some of it. But looking at this, I'm not sure how successful stacking is going to be to pull out anything meaningful. But just as a general view, the tail is quite wide actually. Oh, here we go again. Here we go again. The tail is quite wide. I did say there'd be a few minutes gap before the next cloud bank came in. So I'm not sure if this is going to be the major one, or if there's going to be another few gaps after this. We call this cloud dodging. You can have a whole night dodging clouds just to snap the odd picture every now and then. And what time we got? 11:34. Who is it now? Sorry, 11:15. This image run finishes at 11:34. I'm not sure. For the elements of the main body of a comet, there needs to be energy to split it. So with the action of splitting, it dissipates energy, but that energy will be transferred into motion. And because there's no friction in space, in the vacuum, and the only forces that will be acting on it would be heat from the sun, possibly solar winds. All depends how strong those particular elements could be. So they probably will split up, but no, I don't think they'll split up to the extent of becoming two separate or multiple comets. Yes, since the discovery of gravitational waves, they could possibly have an effect of some sort. But because of the strength of them and how much sensitivity is needed to detect them, I'm not sure the amount of influence there would be on these fast-moving objects. Gravitational waves would be very, very, very weak. Let's just see if we can stretch this a bit. I think that's a background star. Is that? No, it's pretty round, so there's not much movement on that shot. But the Comet is very defined across that edge up there. That's been constant throughout all the images, and down here. So almost following the track of my pointer. Very cloudy. Yeah, very cloudy. Can't beat pressing buttons. If you just normally expose, get an image and look it on screen, it's just that, it's a static image. But when you've got the ability to manipulate it, tweak it and twist it and distort it, although you're not changing the data, you're just hiding some data and overexposing some data. You're not changing the basic elements of what you're looking at. So just by changing, it's like changing the colours. Just by changing the intensities of different sections of it, you can reveal a little bit more information about what you captured. Hence why I love this little histogram. Because it's do a right stretch, that makes it darker, do a left stretch, overexposes it. And if you do the similar things with this, you get different data yet again. But it's always the best way to find what's not in plain sight. Just manipulate what you've got, because once you've got the data, you're not going to destroy it. It's still going to be there. All you're doing is revealing different elements of it at different points. And to me, that looks like it's stretched out again, that does. Let's move the magnifier out of the way. Does that look stretched to you? Are the stars round? Let's check the stars. Stars are pretty round. So there's a chance that could be stretched a little bit. Let's just give it a tweak. Oops, clear. There's still a lot of cloud going by, so we're going to be struggling with good seeing. Right, I'm not sure if there's background stars there. I'm not sure if there's background stars there. It's giving us a false impression of what's actually going off. But was it going past another star? Let me just move this out of the way and have a look. I think we'll have to wait for the next exposure to come in to see what's actually causing this enlargement of the head. Because it might be going past another background star, although I can't remember one being there. The stars are pretty... right, let's clear that and then start again. Clouds again, look, you can see the banks of clouds going through. So we're going to be fighting nature again. But that does look slightly wider than earlier on. Let's see if we can just drag the... look for a narrower part. Well, there's no background star there. I think it might have just been atmospheric distortion on that last image. There, that's atmospheric distortion. There might have been a little bit of movement, so we can't rely on that last image being as accurate as this one, because that a lot less movement on them two stars. So not only are we fighting clouds, we're sort of battling against the breezes outside, because the wind brings the clouds and the wind brings the pain to the telescope. I was just checking we was in the right filter then. I wonder if a different filter might bring out some different data. There's a thought. Indeed not, especially this evening. But yeah, oh, that's a nice one. That's a nice one. That's got a very definitive tail. Looks a wider head, but look at that. We've got distortions. We've got wind. We've got movement on the scope. Look at that. Everything's stretched. So that's a very misleading image, that is. Yeah, for clouds to pass you need wind, and wind unfortunately doesn't get on well with my telescope. So even though we've still got it in sight, we are getting the odd clear image. I think with the amount of wind I'm getting on the scope and the clouds going by, we're struggling. I'm glad I didn't get a lottery ticket tonight, because I'd probably lose that to the clouds as well. Got 5 more exposures, and then we'll swap over to a different filter. We'll keep with the 90-second exposure and the same gain, and we'll just see if we can. I think the green filter might be favourite because that's quite a bright filter. We'll see what I can pull in with the green filter, see if that can block out any of the background. Yeah, I could see the movement in the scope then. Still a lot of movement in these stars. Really disheartening sometimes when you think you're onto a good run. The next thing we'll get is satellites going through. Oh, I've got another like. Thank you who's adding the likes. It's much appreciated. And if you like what you see, please subscribe. There's a lot more where this comes from, and we're going to be doing a moon tour in the very near future. It is very difficult just to concentrate when you've got elements fighting against you. But you're very limited on what you can do while you wait for it to clear and settle. The scope seems to be behaving itself. It's just that Mother Nature's decided to play loose and fast with our equipment, which is not fun. Oh, that looks like it's a good one. Right. Put that out of the way. Let's just have a general look at that before we zoom in. I've passed 7 billion on the PlayStation, so I've got the funds for a fleet carrier when it comes out, and I'm going to join in the test server to play with the fleet carriers on the PlayStation. The PC version, I'm up to about a couple of 100 million. I've not started mining yet because my main character's on the PlayStation. PlayStation wise, I've got all the ships. My current favourite is the Corvette, of course. I can't beat starting again. It's awesome. I might jump onto Elite tomorrow on the PC. So if you want to have a bit of wing action, we can team up if you like. Go do a bit of pirating, a bit of bounty hunting. That I see definite movement on that one there. Still a little bit of distortion on that bit there, but it's definitely not the round, compact single element of a head of a comet. And the coma is very wide. Even the tail's quite wide. I think I'm flying a Crate Mark II on the PC at the minute. I've just bought a Python, and I've got a Type 9 already set up for mining, but I've not done any mining in it yet. That's definitely got a lot more data just there. Still stretched a little bit, there's still a little bit of movement there, but the skies have cleared. So the wind that blew the clouds away blew the telescope and caused that movement look. See, all these stars are stretched and they're not perfectly round. So if there was no wind, that would have been a really good image. That tail is really, really looking good down there. That's a little bit better. There. See, two definite parts there. The bright spot and a distorted part here where I think there might be multiple pieces. So what do we do at a time like this? We press buttons. Looks like there's a line coming out there, look. Yeah, I think there's a main bit there, and this shaded area just here, I think contains some of the fragments that we can't quite resolve with the camera at the moment. Yeah, one main part there, and that piece there, I think contains some of the smaller fragments. That's why we can't get a definitive single element, is because they're spread out. It's clear. Moving. Definitely looks like a line of some sort there. I wonder if there's some sort of distortion. Temperatures can settle down at 17 degrees, so we've not got thermal issues, although it's not as cool as I'd like it to be. And there we go again, look, more wind, more movement. I can actually see the plants blowing outside the door, so it's not going to be a super set of captures for the next few items. But the sky's cleared, and that's because the wind's blown the clouds away, but also the wind's blowing the telescope around. But look at the coma around that, even on a distorted picture like that. There's still quite a large coma on the front of that comet. Might have been just some artifacting for that last image. I think this is the last image of this run, and then I think I'll swap to a green filter and do 90-second exposure with the green filter, see if that brings up anything else. Right, that's the end of the imaging plan. Right, let's go to the gear. Yeah, that's the end of the imaging plan. Right, let's select the green filter, and just here it tells us when we're on the green filter. Right, we're now on the green filter, so let's go back to camera. And let's set it off on 90 seconds on the green filter. Good plan. Kettle's always a good idea no matter what time it is. I'm not sure what to expect with the green filter, but I think the primary colour of the Comet was green, so I wonder if we might be able to pull out different elements of it. Right, let's clear this. It's definitely looking different. Whoa. Right, see two distinct elements there. Possibly three, if that larger front one is just two side by side and there's possibly a third just there. Two elements there, no doubt about that. We'll have to wait for the next exposure to come in to make sure it's not atmospheric distortion, and then we can reasonably assume two pieces. So we need to confirm before jumping to the conclusion. And let's move this out of the way for a second. Not as much visible in the green spectrum as what he expected. Ah, there we go. And that's just about the same. Distortion there and a piece there. Let's just bring this across a little bit. Right, move that out of the way. Yeah, move that out of the way. Yeah, if you take that, I wish I had that option of drawing on screen. That bit there is definitely a wide coma, and look how wide the tail is in the green band. Let's just clear all the and there we go, it disappears. There it was, gone. And let's reduce the amount of data we're looking at. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are two pieces to that main front bit. Piece there, but I think that larger chunk there might consist of multiple pieces, and that's a separate element that's following along. Let's move this out of the way again. think I might try the blue filter next, because I never expected to get very much from the green, but it does seem to show that the Comet is quite wide again. More so than just the luminance filter, which blocks a lot of the infrared. The luminance filter blocks infrared and ultraviolet, so you just get a cleaner light spectrum. But this is letting the UV and the infrared through, as well as the green section of the spectrum. So we'll let this one expose at 90 seconds, and then I'll swap over to the blue filter. There we go again. I'll swap over to the blue filter this time. But I'll still leave it on 90 seconds. We've got a bit of movement on those stars again, look. But there's still definitely a main body left. So there's something we can still look at. It's not the first shot we need, it's the second shot, because the first shot in the blue will have the moving filter wheel. So we need the second shot for the first element of that part of the spectrum. And the scope was still at 17 degrees when we last looked, and not too much heat down here. Right, here we go, what we got. Well, there's something there. Let's clear it. Well, even like that, I can still see the tail. Let's stretch right first. There's definitely something there, but it's not as pronounced as it is in the green. Stretch left, clear, and walk it in a bit. Yeah, I still consistently see two pieces there, look. See if that's still there when this next exposure comes in. See if we've still got those two pieces. It'd be nice if it stayed like that, and then there's definitely two pieces there, look. That small bit and this bit just here. Right, we'll see in a second, see if there's anything else new to be seen here. Right, stretch it a little bit more. There's that one piece straight away. No, I'm not seeing very much at all in there. I think the green filter was slightly better. I can still see parts of it. Yeah, you can still see the basic shape of the comet. You can still see the comet is really, really wide. Even on this blue filter, it's still really, really wide. So if we can see this comet in both green and blue, and the luminance as well. So it must be a really wide coma at this point. Right, after this I'll swap back to the luminance filter, because that seems to be getting us the better images. There we go, we're going back to the luminance filter now, and we'll have a quick look at that. Just clear that. Yeah, you can't see very much with the blue filter on that at all. Still pull the bits out. Still pull the bits out. Right, we'll have a couple on luminance, and then I might call it tonight, because I can see clouds coming back in again. So we'll be fighting the elements. There we go, look. I'm going to be fighting the elements. See the cloud across there, look. I think we're on the losing end of Mother Nature now. Just bring that across a little bit. Still consistently two pieces there, so I think we're definitely picking two elements up of the main body, no matter what filter that we seem to be using, because it was there on the green, it was there on the blue, and now we're back on luminance, and there's definitely two pieces, and they stay in the approximately the same distance apart. So it's not a background star or distortion. It seems to be consistently moving with the comet. Move that one out of the way. And look at the coma there. It is really in front. Right, let's have a look, see if that. Yep, even there I can see two pieces. So I think we're definitely looking at two main elements, one there and one there. Even as distorted as that is, I can see it. Clear that. Yeah. I think I'm going to throw the towel in, because you can see too many clouds coming in this evening. I think we've had the best we could expect, and to be honest, I never expected to get half as much as we did this evening. It's just another collection of data to add to the final review video when I get a chance to put it all together. Right, so I'm going to conclude this evening's activities. I'd like to say thank you for everybody for joining me. I hope you found it interesting. It's nice to see an active chat screen going up all the time. As always, like and subscribe. I can see a lot of people have already liked, but please subscribe, because it's different most evenings. This evening, unfortunately, we're fighting Mother Nature, but it still didn't stop us from getting some good shots. Tomorrow I'll be possibly playing with the camera, looking at the solar disk again, if it's clear. If not, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday we'll be playing with some new equipment, so more often than not it'll be in the afternoon. So if you can join, keep an eye out on the YouTube notification for when I go live. So from me for this evening, I'm going to say thank you. Nice to have you along for the ride, and I do look forward to catching you all again on the next adventure in the skies. So have a nice evening, everybody, and nice seeing you again. Cheers.